Finally, 2020's over, and we can all agree it's been quite a year. From a pandemic to numerous natural disasters, economic meltdowns, and almost a third world war, 2020 was a really bumpy ride. But despite how devastating 2020 was and how tasking it was on the country, there are some cities which did manage to come out unscathed and experienced growth in terms of the economy and population. Today, we're going to be looking at the top 10 large cities in America that experienced the most growth and how they managed to do it. These cities might not come up in your search for the best places to live in, but they're definitely worth looking at. Number 10, Franklin, Tennessee. Franklin has always been one of the wealthiest cities in the US. It's no surprise that it handled the pandemic very well and still managed significant growth during the period. The seventh largest city in Tennessee, Franklin is currently growing at a rate of 4.2% every year and has seen a massive population surge in the past year alone. The population of Franklin peaked at 88,000 at the end of 2020, with a 40.84% increase despite the pandemic. It's an amazing place to live in, with an affordable cost of living and an average household income of $120,000 a year. It's no surprise that the poverty rate in Franklin is just below 6%, which is way lower than any big city. Housing, though, might be a different story, as the monthly rent is pegged at around $1,500 a month, and median house value is $384,500. But the average high income does make this easier to deal with. Number 9, Aurora, Colorado. Everybody loves Colorado, which just makes this even more exciting. Aurora is the third largest city in Colorado, currently growing at a rate of 1.14% per year and a population growth of 17.75. With a population at nearly 400,000, one would think that Aurora would be overpopulated and living here would suck. But actually, quite the opposite is true, as living in Aurora is actually pretty good. It's the safest city in the whole of Colorado, with an incredibly low crime rate. The cost of living is a tiny bit higher than the national average, but with an average household income of nearly $80,000, that shouldn't be much of a problem. And the best part of it all is that the grocery prices are 2% lower than the national average, so eating here won't leave a hole in your pocket. Number 8, Austin, Texas. Austin is home to the famous cluster of high-tech companies, nicknamed Silicon Hills. It's no surprise that the city enjoys such an economic growth due to its home to relatively several industries. In the past year alone, Austin has experienced over 2.5% growth and a population increase of nearly 35%. The economy of Austin is growing so fast that it's been named among the 25 wealthiest cities in America because of the amount of revenue it generates. This also means that living in this city is a little bit more expensive than other places, but with the amount of high-paying jobs that the city does offer, this shouldn't be a problem. If you're in the big tech business and you don't want to have to deal with Seattle's gloomy weather, Austin is definitely the place for you. Number 7, Miami, Florida. In 2020, Miami's economy was said to have been contracted, yet it managed a 6% growth. Experts say it bounced back to 7.6 in the coming years, provided there are no more pandemics. The Sunshine State has managed the pandemic so well, with a significant decrease in the rate of unemployment and an increase in the quality of healthcare and education. The only downside, however, is that the cost of housing has skyrocketed, along with the cost of living. So, yeah, living in Miami might cost a little bit more, but hey, at least you get to enjoy the benefits of rapid economic growth, loads of sunshine, and beaches. Oh, and let's not forget that Miami doesn't charge as much tax as other big cities do. In Miami, you don't have to pay income, estate, or inheritance taxes. So, more for everyone. Number 6, Denver, Colorado. Colorado does seem to be the home of developing cities due to this second city we'll be looking at today. This isn't surprising because Colorado enjoys a robust economy, low cost of living, and low taxes, making it a haven for people and businesses. Denver has grown in both economy and population more than any other city in the state. It grows at a rate of 1.22% per year, and the population has increased by over 22%. The presence of companies like Baker Tech and Boeing ensures that Denver has a thriving job market with tons of high-paying jobs. To make it even better, tax rates are relatively low, so you get to actually enjoy your income and not give half of it away to the government. Aside from the altitude and maybe traffic challenges, Denver is an absolute paradise. South Jordan, Utah. Located in Salt Lake City's outskirts, South Jordan is one of the major cities in the state and the fastest growing for 2020. It's managed to maintain the robust economic growth it enjoyed before the pandemic, with a 1.5% increase in the job market in the past year alone. This has reduced the unemployment rate to 3%, and subsequently, the rate of crime. If you are planning on moving to this city, however, you might find housing a little bit expensive, due to the fact that the fast increase in population has made the cost of living slightly higher than normal. But it shouldn't make you go bankrupt, especially with an average household income over $90,000. Number 4, Buckeye, Arizona. Buckeye was the fastest growing city in America in 2017 and 18, and even though it slipped down the ranks in 2019, it still enjoyed massive economic growth in 2020. With a nearly 5% growth rate in 2020 alone, Buckeye has become the development and economic growth hub. There has also been a massive influx of people, mainly because of the attractive economy and due to the fact that it isn't as overpopulated as other big cities. In addition, the job market has increased by over 3%, which means that there's just about enough jobs to go around. With home prices pegged at $250,000, the cost of the economy is way lower than the national average. Buckeye is the place to be. Number 3, Atlanta, Georgia. 10 years ago, Atlanta recorded one of the highest unemployment rates, but in November 2020, Atlanta recorded its all-time low. This just shows how much the city has grown in the past few years. Despite these several catastrophic events which have hit it, Atlanta has recorded significant growth in its economy and population. Not even the pandemic could stand in its way. Surprisingly, Atlanta is one of the big cities to live in, with a cost of living that is 2% lower than the national average. That's a whole lot cheaper than New York City and most other ones. More and more companies are even coming into the city, which means the growth will be massive in the next few years. If you're considering moving to Atlanta, now's the time to pack your bags. Number 2, Henderson, Nevada. The fact that this city is so close to Las Vegas says all there is to say about its economic growth. Henderson is arguably the fastest growing city in the state, with a robust economy and a thriving job market. It's not surprising that more people are moving to this city. The cost of living in the city is a tad bit higher than the national average, but it's definitely worth it. Coupled with low poverty and crime rates, Henderson is the perfect place to live. Lastly, number 1, Frisco, Texas. Frisco is the fastest growing city in America for 2020, which isn't surprising because it's home to several sports teams, world-class shopping centers, and hosts 2 other businesses. Frisco recorded a growth rate of 71.1% over the past 10 years, and not even a worldwide pandemic could slow it down. It is expected to continue growing at this astonishing rate, which means Frisco would become the next New York in just a few years. And that's it for the top 10 fastest growing cities in America.